years ago when I was an employee, the HR lady came to me, she pulled me aside and she said, Cece, I just wanted to let you know that your team members are struggling because you work late and we know you like working late, you don't mind, but they think they need to hang back because you're hanging back. And I was so shocked. That was a complete blind spot for me. I don't want my team members to be feeling some type of way. Yeah. So I really appreciated that feedback. And I went back to the office the next day. I called everybody in. I told them the feedback had been given. I apologized for not seeing that. And I made it clear that, me, I like working late, but you can leave when you're ready to leave. So feedback helps you grow.
Yeah,
feedback
I agree.
grow.
It's interesting how my mom used to tell me way back, she's like, Kevin, at some point when you're going to become a boss, you have to pay people, especially like a wellness coach and a life coach, so that they give you the most legit feedback.
Yes.
You need to know where you are in life.
Yes.
It's important so that you can measure your growth, if I can put it like that.
Yeah.
And it goes back to also stories.
Yes.
I read at the back of the prologue of your book, how, you share stories.
Yes.
You're talking about how it's important for us to read memoirs from Africans.
Yeah.
But why do you think it's important for you to share your own stories with some of your clients?
Yeah.
What is the reason for that?
What's the reason? That's such a good question. And I'm taken back to an incident. I have so many stories. I'm taken back to an incident from, I want to say, 9 years ago, and it still stands out in my mind. So back then, I was coaching people face to face. I started coaching remotely even before 2020. But when I first came back to Kenya, I was coaching clients face to face. And I was sitting in front of a CEO and a remarkable business person. And he just came out and said he suffers from anxiety. And I just told him the truth, which was, I used to suffer from anxiety. And I talk about it in the book. And I'll never forget the look on his face. It was a combination of relief that, there's somebody else who I respect, who has gone through this, and also that non-judgment. Yeah. So we had a whole conversation around, so if you're suffering from anxiety, it's very important, for example, to realize that you're actually not anxious all the time. You're just anxious around certain people. You're anxious in certain environments. So we pull apart these things in a coaching conversation, and clients realize, wow, I can see who and what induces my anxiety, and I can, stay away from such people as best I can while also managing my anxiety. See, that's a more powerful approach than I'm an anxious person.
Right.
I'm an anxious person. Are you always anxious? Even when you're in the club, are you always anxious? Yeah.
So I'm sorry, did I cut you short?
No, go on.
Okay. I know you meet different kind of people sometimes. Some people are overambitious. Someone is trying to start up a career, start up a business, or, just something special that they want to do.
Yeah.
How do you help them realize, realistic goals and achievable goals? How do you help them, reach that?
So that word realistic is so triggering because it's real in your mind, and then somebody's coming with that.
Yeah, without breaking them down.
It's like, shush, don't be the dream killer.
I know.
Don't be the dream killer. So here's the thing. Think about it in a very practical way. So the steps are this. Number one, what is the problem you would like to solve? So you're spending all day, every day, talking about this problem. You're emailing people about it. You're in meetings discussing it. What is the problem you would like to solve? And then think about who has this problem. Okay, who are the sorts of people anywhere in the world who have this problem? That's step number 2. And then step number 3 is you're writing things down.
We're in class.
Take your time. Yeah, because I'm trying to compose my words for the next question.
Okay. Step number 3. Step number 3 is how will I help them solve this problem?
Okay.
Yeah. So let's play a game. Can we play a game?
I love games.
Let's play a game.
I'm an athlete, actually. So let's talk.
We go.
Let's play games, yeah.
So if there's a business or product out there that you don't understand or that you're not interested in, most people go, I don't understand why why is that even a thing? But you need to understand that thing, product or service, is solving a problem for someone. Yeah. So let's play a game. think of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, for example.
Okay.
That show has been going on for a decade plus. Yeah, it's a business. That family, they're running a business.
Yeah.
What is the problem they're solving with that show?
People bored at home, nothing to do.
Exactly. You're bored at home, you've
Yeah,
got
I
nothing
like
to
that.
do, some light entertainment because you can't
Yeah.
always be serious. It's the exact same reason some people watch football
Yeah.
and some people watch reality TV. And some very smart people I know watch reality TV shows. It's just lighthearted. It's, it's because we're so serious. You've got your serious problems in life and it just offers you a chance to have a break. Now, all these types of people all around the world end up being millions. So it's millions of eyeballs on that show. And then you get to, this other company over here gets to advertise their product.
Correct.
This other company over here gets to advertise their product. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
the person, look around at everything you have, your jacket, my ring, the person who put this ring together clearly thought about someone like Cece, like this person likes jewelry, but she doesn't want conventional jewelry. So let me make jewelry that helps her solve the problem of, I want to have something on my fingers.
Yeah.
I
So
want to
identify a problem.
Yeah.
And then
That you're going to enjoy solving.
right, so you have to enjoy solving it as well.
Yes.
It has to be fun. It has to be something that you can do even with your eyes closed.
Well, it's going to
Yeah.
be something, because you're going to be, think about it practically, Monday to Friday, if not Monday to Sunday.
Right.
This is what you're going to be discussing all day, every day, in meetings, on the
Yeah.
phone, in
Yeah.
emails. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
like your thought process. Now, I must ask, at what stage did you were in your office and then just think, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm tired of having a boss. I'm tired of having someone tell me what to do.
Yeah.
It's time for me to actually take all my ideas
Yes.
and start my own business. Like, what was that for you?
Yeah. So, wow. Maybe I should start with uni. So I went to law school. And
wow,
I
okay.
did. I graduated. Please finish school. I graduated, and I didn't become a lawyer. So that was my first realization that Cece, maybe think things through next time.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I got my law degree. It's been very helpful. I was just whining too much. I was whining about my job too much. I was whining to my friends, and even they were whining, and pity parties and all this. And one day I just got tired. I just got tired of whining. So I talk about it in the book. I went home, I phoned a friend, and I just said, I'm tired of whining. And even her, she said, yeah. So we decided to get together at a cafe, a local cafe, and we just talked. We didn't necessarily have a plan. We just talked about what we would like to do. And I remember saying things like, I want to talk to smart people about their problems. I want to help them solve their problems, something like that. I don't necessarily want to wear a formal suit. I don't want to. So we just talked and talked. We were supposed to just be there for a couple of hours. We were in that cafe for the whole day.
Yeah.
For the whole day. And I remember going back home and my skin was just tingling.
Yeah.
And now I know that sensation when something magical is
It's about to
happening.
happen.
Yeah.
I get that tingling sensation. So I got home, I jumped on the laptop, and I'm just like, I'm looking for a job. See, I didn't go from employment directly to not being employed. This epiphany happened and it made me change jobs.
Yeah.
So I just wanted a job where I felt fulfilled and I was making a difference. And at that time, I had gone to Australia to study and I stayed to work. They were kind with visas because of my degree and all of this. And I found a job in the organic food industry, and I thought, this is good. This is good. So I was managing the sales and customer service team. And what was so crazy was I was being paid more than I'd ever been paid.
Wow.
So that also broke some barriers I had in my head of there's only money in this type of industry, this type of sector. And when I was in that job is when I got a coaching accreditation, because I had the headspace, the excitement, the time, particularly the time and the headspace. And I studied while I worked. Now, when I finished the coaching accreditation, I was like, okay, look, you already have a degree you haven't used. Let this not be a second one.
Yeah.
And I just jumped ship and I started coaching people.
I like how you put it. Initially you're saying how you're whining. You couldn't get your head straight. You felt like you're confused about what to do.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. In fact, I am so sure there are many young Kenyans out there, not just young, even older Kenyans who are still whining after all these years. And they're thinking, oh my God, I haven't even figured out what I really want to do.
Yeah.
So when do you think is the right time to make that jump? When do you just decide, you know what? Screw this. I quit.
Yes.
I'm chasing my dreams.
Yes.
How do you know this is the time, when I should make the move?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, when you're whining a bit too much.
Okay.
When you're whining over and over.
I like that.
When you're not changing, it's the same old thing. And I say to people, I actually don't have a problem with employment. I don't like it when people say, oh, you're better off spending 100 hours a week on your own thing than 40 hours on someone else's thing. What's wrong with spending time on somebody else's thing? You're learning, you're growing, you're helping somebody else build. But more importantly, you're learning. So all the jobs I've had in the past, I have used what I have learned to help me grow and build my business.
Right.
There's no right time. I am grateful for employment because it gave me a certain level of discipline, and everything works out in the end because I know what it's like when leaders in corporate come to me because I've been there.
Yeah.
I know what it's like when rapidly growing SMEs come to me because I've been there. My last job was with a founder in the organic food industry.
Wow.
And because I've been running my business, now I also know what it's like to run your own business.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, the biggest obstacle is yourself. That's why it's so hard running a business because you have to get over yourself.
Yeah, get over yourself.
Yeah, get over your fears, get over your, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. I had a really interesting conversation with a friend of mine who has started a school. We were talking about this debate around homework. And she and I are on the same page about this. And we believe in homework. It shouldn't be too much. But there's something about learning how to sit down, sit your down, and do the thing that must be done, even though you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I agree.
See, that's a skill you're going to need to learn when you're older. Because life is not always about, oh, yay, I want to do this. Yay, there's so much stuff we have to do that we don't want to do.
Takes a lot of discipline as well. But I want to go back to this whole idea of you sharing your own stories and what you've been through. Now, before we talk about some of the challenges and the tragic moments in your story, how important is it, or why is it important for Africans to document their own stories?
Yeah, by the way, I read somewhere that we did, in fact, document our stories. It's not true that we were all just oral storytellers. I found that really interesting. Just a bit of a segue there.
Right.
It is important because some of us have very active and vivid imaginations. Some people don't need to see the thing in front of them. I'm one of these people. I can dream and see it. Like with the book, I'd go to Textbook Center, for example, and I'd be on the African writers or biographies shelf, and I would visualize my book on there, and now it's there. So we have very strong imaginations, but a lot of people need to see the thing. A lot of people need to see the thing. Otherwise, it's too difficult to grasp. I need to see the thing. I need to hear the thing. I'll be very honest. I've been saying to people, I bought the authorized biography of Elon Musk. I did it. It's a big, fat book. And honestly, it's almost like reading fiction to me. It's very, very interesting, but it's not very relatable. It's not very relatable at all.
Yeah.
I was flying on my private jet and then I got kicked out of PayPal and I don't know what.
Yeah.
I'm like, interesting.
It's a lot. It's just a lot.
This is interesting, but I don't know anybody who this has happened to.
Yeah.
And,
it's interesting you put it like that because even if you go to the streets in Nairobi, for example, there's many Western books.
Yeah.
By all these Muzungus, and they've done amazing things which we appreciate.
Yes.
But they're not relatable.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say, okay, fine, I can emulate certain things.
Yeah.
And so I like how you put it, man. Many Africans, we need to start getting out there and encouraging our brothers, especially people who've achieved a lot.
Yeah.
High status Africans need to start showing us the process.
Yes.
You know.
But you see, that's also the very same thinking. Like I've been a bit cheeky in the back cover there, what I've written, but it's the truth. I am not a refugee. I am not a politician.
Yes.
So again, now when I'm reading those books written by Africans, it's like, oh, wow, okay, wow.
Yeah.
Where are the books written by people like me? You know what I'm saying? So when you read like, oh, you know, she grew up in Loresho, she went to Consolata Primary, she went to Valley Road, you know, she went to Electric Avenue. You're reading and going, oh yeah,
She's one of us.
She's one of us.
Yeah.
You know, I got into a fight with a boy in school.
Exactly.
You know, all that
That's so
stuff.
typical. I mean, that always happens. You know, girls fighting boys. So you can say, oh my God, she has the same story as I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
People started.
yes. Yeah, well, yeah, he started.
Okay,
it,
fine.
and he started. Yeah.
Sometimes she started. but like, talk about the tragic experiences that you've had and how you overcame those. Because when I'm speaking with you, I can feel your energy.
Yeah.
You're very grounded.
Yes.
You come off as very sharp. How do you have that positive mental attitude?
Yeah, gosh, lots of coaching and lots of therapy. Yes, I'm going to say the T word, therapy.
I like that.
Too many people are afraid of saying therapy because they think it demeans them somehow, but I am good with saying I've gone for therapy, I've gone for coaching, and it has really helped me. So there's a chapter in the book called Death and Rebirth, in a story in 3 parts. The death of my husband's grandpa. A lot of people get confused. They're like, wait, your husband's grandpa? Yeah, but when I went to Australia, there were some people who, if you get a chance to study overseas and you're just there by yourself, there are certain people you don't forget for their hospitality and their kindness and things like that. Like, they make the experience more palatable, more bearable.
Yeah.
So that coincided. It came at a time when I was also struggling with this thing of whinging and whining about my job. So it really hit me hard. And my husband's grandparents are so accomplished. They were immigrants as well. And I just thought, wow, I really am wasting my life and my opportunities and all the gifts my folks gave me, life has given me. And then there was the death of my dad. There's this really weird thing that happens to me when I'm stressed. I'll sort stuff out, but stress just creeps into my system slowly. And I'll start noticing odd behaviors like a week later.
Okay.
So my husband, for example, tells me that he can tell I'm stressed when I start slouching in my chair. When I start having defeatist thoughts, I know immediately I'm stressed. So it's good to have those signs and to know what your signs and your markers are.
Very important.
And so how did I deal with it? Well, for example, with the passing of my dad, my dad gave me a gift. I think he gave all my siblings a gift.
Yeah.
He lived his life in full.
I like that.
Yeah, so you know those kids when you're going to shags, those kids you see walking the cows, the goats, that was my dad.
Nice.
By the time this guy checked out, he was playing golf with $100, $600 golf clubs, right?
Nice.
That's his story.
Yeah.
So when he passed, there was no, oh my gosh, but he still had so much to do. This is so unfair. So I take that with me. I want to, when I go out, I want to say, it's all right, guys, I lived. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah, so that helped. It was a gift he gave us. My mom is also unwell at the moment, but she is the same. She's lived such a full life. That certainly helps me engage with her illness in a healthy way. But I also allow myself to feel all the emotions. I allow myself to feel sad, angry, upset. A bit of a whinge, a bit of a whine is okay. Just don't stay there for too long. A bit of anger is okay. But really the antidote is, but is my life okay? Is my life okay? I've got this problem here, but are there other things that are going on in my life?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like how
Hold on.
you basically.
Just a second, Steph. If you're just joining us, guys, Cece Ojany Bikor is in the building, and I'm sure there's somebody who's just tuned in right now.
Yeah.
Of course, she's a leadership and wellness coach and also an author of an amazing book that we're going to talk about in just a second called I'll Take Some Self-Love With That. Twendekazi.
So I like how you basically promote, getting in touch with your emotions and therapy, which many people are too afraid to speak about.
Yeah.
But is this something that you tell your CEOs and your leaders to do? Be aware of your mental health.
Yes. Yeah, you have to, because otherwise you're not being courageous as a coach. A lot of people get very surprised when they hear this, but the dudes cry more than the ladies.
I'm not surprised.
These days.
The dudes.
You guys, our president was crying the other day. You remember?
I don't even know what you're talking about, Kev.
You guys, it's just what I'm seeing, man.
Tears. What are these things called tears?
Yeah, I saw our president looking at the camera crying like, oh my God.
Well, so I mean, what
Yeah.
you said actually earlier about losing your dad, I kind of feel like it resonated quite a bit with me, and it's just taught me that I need to deal with certain things in a different way.
Yeah.
And I hope my sisters or my family are listening to this because it's a very important message that you actually passed across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I just come back to what you were saying, this is the stuff.
Yeah.
This is the stuff, because for me anyway, my clients, different coaches have different clients. For me, my clients are so sharp. They're so sharp. They know what they're doing. They're so technically adept. Where do they go to talk about this stuff? Yeah, where do they go to talk about I'm struggling with, like, I have fatigue.
Yeah.
I've started a business, I have employees, and I have fatigue. Those are not things you put on Facebook.
True.
I have fatigue. You'll scare people. So you can chat about it with a coach, and then we can work out how you want to share that. But that is the stuff. And I have therapists on, I have phone numbers. Call this person, call this person, call this person. They'll sort you out, because I also like sharing the contacts of other helpers.
Yeah.
Call this personal trainer, call this healer, the hippies. I'm a bit of a hippie myself. Call this doctor, call this healer, call this, and they call, because they just want the help.
Yeah.
I like that you say that, because I know a lot of young people who started businesses, and the one thing they say is, if I could fire myself as an employee, I would, because the stress is just too much, and you have to balance it out, and you can't take it out on your employees. It's like balancing between you, your home life, and then the whole weight of the business on you.
Yes. It's very, very challenging. It's very, very challenging.
Yeah.
So
How do you tell them to separate between work and life? Because you can't take work home, but sometimes they're like, I am the work.
Yes. So here's the thing. It's not necessarily about work-life balance or separation. It's about integration. Integration, because the same you is there everywhere. So this is one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of authenticity, right? And authenticity has some very practical and helpful consequences. So, for example, I'm being authentic when I say I want to work with leaders. I know coaches who want to work with younger people, who want to work with the youth. So instead of thinking, there's money in coaching the youth, let me do that, I'm just being authentic and saying, no, I want to work with senior leaders. That coach who wants to work with the youth is being authentic. If you have started and are running an organization, just be honest about what you can do, what you can't do. What you can't do or don't want to do, you'll hire someone to do that for you.
Yeah.
When leaders resign and they want to start their own consultancies, for example, we have that conversation. What do you want to do? What do you not want to do? Yeah. So there are some very practical consequences to authenticity. So you don't necessarily need to split. It's just about integration. Bring your whole self to wherever you go. So I like to give the example of, when I knew I was going to be here on After Hours, I sent the flyer to everyone. And if my friends are watching, they will look and go, yeah, that's the Cece. That's the Cece who comes to my house.
Yeah.
They're not going to go, who is this?
Right.
That's the Cece who comes to my house. That's the Cece who plays with my kids. That's the Cece I went clubbing with. That's it's me. I'm there everywhere. One of the things I do, because I use WhatsApp a lot, because I'm on the phone a lot with clients, I'll send clients emojis, instead of saying great job, I'll send an emoji, and they love those emojis of mine, the dancing queen, the this, the that. So there's a freedom you give yourself when you're being authentic. And then there's also just things like, tell your kids, if you have kids, tell your kids about what you're up to. So my daughter has known, she's only 7, but she's known for a very long time that mom has these things called clients. Sometimes she'll stick, when she was younger and she didn't quite fully understand, she'd stick her head into next to me. So, and I'd just be like, hey, everybody, that's my daughter, say hi. Right. If you're studying as a leader, let your kids know what you're studying. Don't run to your room and hide there with your books.
True.
Let your kids know what you're up to. My husband's an architect, so if we're driving around somewhere, he'll show her, this is the building that I'm working on. This is what an architect does. This is what,
So cool. Yeah.
It's just you. You're just being you everywhere you go.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious to know, what are some of your values, and how do these values, influence your coaching practice when you're working?
That's such a good question. Values drive everything. Yeah, values are what you believe is important. So one of my values is fun, which is why I have a multicolored jacket. I could have come in as scat suit, but that's not me. Again, my friends would be like, what's happening? What's she wearing? So one of my values is fun. I bring fun into my workshops, and I think that's why clients keep calling me back. I have a lot of repeat clients, so it's the portable speaker, it's the jokes during the sessions. The sessions are very, very interactive, even though we're doing serious and helpful work. So fun is one of my values. Efficiency and effectiveness are 2 values I have. I have to be effective as a coach, otherwise what am I doing?
True.
And the change, I measure for change as early as session 2. We're not going to wait till the end of the program 5 months later to say, so how was that? How was that for you? So I'm checking session 2, session 3. Is the client changing? And there's a way to tell if the client is changing, the less whinging, less whining, less defeatist talk. They're saying what the problem was and how they resolved it. So there's a way we can tell if the client is progressing. So I value efficiency, I value effectiveness. If you write to me, wanting some information, I'll get back to you. If I don't get back to you, I will apologize. Just ownership, responsibility, accountability. Creativity. Creativity is also huge. I love, and creativity is not just the fine arts. It's not about all of us drawing and painting and playing a musical instrument. Creative problem solving is very, very interesting. So I value freshness, fresh ideas, fresh concepts, things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm really drawn to businesses that are that way.
So let's talk about the book right now.
Yeah.
Amazing cover. I love it. It's very colorful.
Yes.
I'll take some self-love with that.
Yes.
Beautiful. Of course, I've seen a couple of highlights over here that I want to point out. So you're talking about childhood, some of the pros and cons for giving our parents, understanding them better. There's also youth and school.
Yeah.
But, right now, Kenya is very youthful. So let's just go back to youth and school.
Yeah.
Were you happy with yours? That's the question. What were the pros and cons?
Yeah.
So what are we talking about here?
Yeah. So I talk. So my the book is an educational memoir. See, that's the other thing. It's not just I have some great stories and we listen. No, it's you can only do that if you're an A-grade celeb. Yeah,
if you're an A-grade celeb, that's true.
If you're an A-grade celeb. So, for example, I bought Viola Davis's biography because I just want to hear your stories. Mariah Carey's her biography is amazing. But for somebody like me, I wanted it to be educational as well. So I'll share the stories and share what was going on in my mind, what I thought then, what I think now. So, for example, with youth, one of the things I talk about is how I wish I'd asked for help when I was younger. But I didn't know. I wish I'd asked for help. I spent so much time ruminating, drawing conclusions, not letting people know I was upset about this or that. So I even say in the book, it was never diagnosed, but I dare say I was moderately depressed.
Right.
This is this ever-present melancholy and feeling not good enough.
Yeah. So
and
what
that
age
is something.
is this? And obviously you're a youth, but what are we
Teenagers. As a teenager. So I left to go to Australia when I was 19.
Okay.
And I used to come back every 2 years, like that.
And
But
were you aware that you were depressed?
no, I wasn't aware.
Okay,
But I just, there was just a bit of a cloud. But then I'd go to school and I would mask it, and I didn't even realize I was masking it. I think my system just wanted me to get some kind of balance. So I was very drawn. I talk about it in the book. I was very drawn to funny people, because I now looking back, I can say I clearly just felt like I needed that balance.
Yeah.
Man, I talk about so much in the book. The first time someone told me a parent of theirs was having an affair, I was in Standard 7.
My
So Standard 7. The first time someone told me, and it was the mom. It was the mom
mom
having
was
an affair.
What?
Yeah.
Whoever
And then it
thought.
just became, my dad's having an affair and this and that. And, I talk about in the book how the chapter on, there's a chapter called Heart Emoji, which is intimate relationships. And I'll never forget the day I was with my coach. So I also receive coaching. I think it's very important. So I'm there in the coaching session as the client, and I'm just talking about all the things I want to do, and I'm hoping to do this, and I'm hoping to do that, and I'm thinking, and I will. And my coach interrupted me mid-sentence, and she's like, "Aren't you in a relationship?"
Yeah.
And I was very taken aback. I was like, okay, first of all, you've interrupted. Secondly, what are you talking about? I'm talking about work, blah, blah, blah. Aren't you in a relationship? I said, yes, I am. And she's like, is everything okay in the relationship? And I'm like, yeah, everything is okay. And then she asks me, why do you talk like you're alone?
Oh, no.
Wow.
And I was like,
Yeah.
what? What do you... See, it's not penetrating.
Yeah.
What do you mean? She's like, Cece, I need to do this. I need to do that. I have to go there. Isn't your dude helping? What's going on?
Yeah, it's the reason they're your partner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that unraveled a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
All those stories, starting with that story in Standard 7 of infidelity. So even though I'm not being cheated on, I'm like this. I'm guarded.
Yeah.
Got my knives, like that
Yeah.
chick in Mortal Kombat.
So-
Got my knives and my weapons.
Yeah.
So wow, yeah.
So I don't. Sorry to cut you short, but
No, that's okay.
I see we're running out of time.
Yes.
But there's, of course, a couple of highlights over here. Let me just say a summary of some of the things that I talk about. One that has stood out for me is failure.
Yes.
Failure for me, especially when I was playing rugby, was something that I took to heart. Seriously, any deeply. I would think about some of the things that my coach would call me out on. I'm like, what? I'd even ask my friends, I'm like, you guy,
Did you see?
how was
you
that
see?
move?
Yeah.
Kwani ilikuwa look bad, eh? Oh my God. Then I go to the gym and I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about here how to deal with failure. And then you talked about, of course, back in your uni days, how you were not confirmed even after probation.
Yeah. My first job after uni. Yeah.
Maybe you can expound for us. How should we deal with failure?
Yeah. So first things first, you have failed, but you're not a failure. You have failed, but you're not a failure.
Key difference.
Very key difference.
Yeah.
I have failed, but I am not a failure. Yeah, because it's where do you go from there? I'm a failure. Where do you go from there? So that's number one.
Yeah.
Number two is understanding that if you're not up to some exciting stuff, or let me say it the other way, if you're up to some exciting stuff, you will fail. Yeah, you'll fail. When you're just in your comfort zone, of course you won't fail. You know how to do the thing. You've been doing it for years. So like for me, I've been coaching for years. I could have just sat back and gone, it's okay, let me do this. But I threw myself into the world of book writing, and the book could have been a flop. Like, Cece, we're not interested in your stories.
Yeah.
But I did it anyway. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to try.
Right.
So you will fail when you're trying new things because you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I thought that book would take a year. It took me 3
3 years.
Wow. So for me, failure is part of living an adventurous life.
Yeah.
Some of the best advice I got, there's a chapter called Mama around motherhood. Some of the best advice I got was from a coach who said, when I was pregnant, he said, Cece, you will mess up with your kid. You will mess up.
Yeah.
Just make sure you clean it up whenever you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
That has been some of the most liberating advice I've ever gotten. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to be infallible. When I lose my temper with my daughter unfairly, I apologize. I correct it. Failing. But it's part of
the
a
process,
juicy
part
life.
of the journey.
It's part of
Now,
a juicy life.
if you're listening to us right now, I promised you that you can actually call us. We have the very amazing Cece Ojany, and she's here talking about her awesome book called I'll Take Some Self-Love With That. Phone lines are open. It's 0719012600. Tupigie simu. Of course, you know we're live as well on Facebook and on YouTube, plus on www.spicefm.co.ke. So yeah, tupigie simu if you have any questions, comments, you just want to react to some of the things that we'll be talking about. Once again, it's 0719012700. I'm seeing this book is very affordable, 2,000 shillings. Where can one get this book?
So you can get it from Textbook Center. You can get it from Nuria bookstores in the CBD. They support African authors. They're so cool.
Yeah.
They deliver. And you can also now get it from Somanami. In fact,
nice.
I'll be doing a reading, so people can follow me on socials.
So-
I'll be doing a reading at Somanami.
Awesome.
You'll talk about your contact info in just a bit. Let's talk
Yes.
to Wilson. Hey, yo, Wilson.
I'm okay.
Fiti sana. Wilson, karibu. Where you calling us from?
Calling from Kisumu.
You're from Kisumu. See, we have the one and only Cece Ojany. Meskia, she has an amazing book. It's called, she's the author of this amazing book called I'll Take Some Self-Love With That. Do you have any questions, commentary, just whatever reaction?
I've not read the book, but I have a
Speaker
question.
on headphones. Sorry?
I have not read the book.
Yes.
But I have a question.
Oh, you got a question, huh?
Yes. What happens in the event that you're confused? For example,
Yeah.
I study international relations,
You study IR, huh?
and I'm being trained to be a diplomat and stuff. But all I want to do is to cook.
Yeah. All you want is?
All I want to do is to cook.
All you want to do is to cook.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic, huh?
And I'm caught in between what my parents want and what I want.
So you're caught up between what your parents want you to do and what you actually want to do.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And in my
So,
copy of study,
mm-hmm.
so I was thinking I just do the degree for them and then
Yeah.
find out.
So you're confused and you're wondering now, how do you approach this life, man?
Yeah.
So are you done with your degree already?
2 months shy.
Okay. Good stuff.
2 months.
Yeah. Sasawa. Thanks a lot, Wilson. Of course, Cece is just going to talk to you right now. She's going to address your issues. Remember, guys, we are live on 0719012600. You can call us. You can also drop your comments on our social media. The hashtag is After Hours on Spice. Now, Wilson is from Kisumu.
Yes.
Sounds like a brilliant guy.
Yes.
Young guy is excited about life, but he's confused.
Yeah.
He is saying, his parents wanted him to do IR. He's just he's left to 2 months to graduate.
Yeah.
And he wants to cook, wants to be a chef,
Nice.
and he doesn't know how to approach his life.
Yes. That happens to so many
I'm sure
of
there
us.
are many young folks out there who are like, Wilson, you've talked for us.
Some older people as well. Like, what am I doing?
It's true. And you know what's so crazy? I was just thinking about this while Wilson was talking. There's a sense of major apathy in the country. Many young guys are just so confused when they're hearing about all these things about, not job opportunities, nini.
Yeah.
They're like, now what's left for us? It's interesting. I was reading a study how they're saying Gen Zs and millennials will never match what their parents achieved. It's so scary. SpiceFM, good evening.
I'm Geoffrey.
Geoffrey, where are you calling from, brother?
I'm calling from Kisumu.
Good. Today we have many callers from Kisumu. Joffrey. Joffrey, what's your comment? What's your question, brother?
My question is that kama mtu amesomea course fulani, kisha akaandikwa kazi mahali.
Yes.
Hiyo kazi inasomea hatapata kumbele. That is.
All right, Sasa. Thanks a lot, Joffrey. Easy. So, two amazing Kenyans. I think that's it for now.
Yeah.
Let's start with Wilson.
Yes.
He's confused.
Yes. So, maybe you missed it earlier on. I went to law school and I didn't become a lawyer.
Wow, yeah.
So, and so many people, because you're a teenager just doing your thing, and then it's decide. What are you studying? You just put things down. Okay. And then there you are studying that thing. So the first thing I would say is please finish. Wilson is just 2 months shy. And the reason you want to finish is also to build the habit of not just dropping out of things, of not completing things.
I like that.
Because the minute you start building that habit, it becomes so easy. You just drop out, don't finish, start but don't finish. So 2 months, you know how it is when you're just at the finish line. It's the hardest. So please finish, Wilson. Second thing to know is so many people study something that they later realize is not what they want to do. Now, on the question of parents, your parents just want to make sure you're okay, you're solid, and you're focused. So if you can show that you're serious about the cooking, like, I've got a job, I've got an internship, I've got this, I've got that, this is what I'm going to be doing, and you're dedicated and focused, it's hard to argue with that, right? True. It's hard to argue with that. But there's something else I want to add, which is everything counts. I told you that law degree has helped me.
Everything
even
adds up.
now.
Yeah, I like that. Wow.
Everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. So even when you're in an international relations job, you are going to learn, for example, discipline, which a chef needs to have. You can't just be a chef and say, me, I'm just cooking, let the books be dealt with by somebody else. Let the, whatever. You write the menu how you want. There's so much other stuff you need to do.
Communication.
To be a successful chef. Look at all the successful chefs out there in the world. These people are running businesses. The restaurant is a business. So everything counts. If you can't get the job as a chef right now, or you're worried that the pay is too little and you've got responsibilities, get that job in IR and try and do some chefing or some cooking. Get yourself into a kitchen somehow. And it doesn't, let's not start with, I want my first job to be at the JW Marriott. No, you might get your first job at the JW Marriott. You might not. You might get your first chefing job at that small restaurant, and that is important.
Right.
I talk about this in my book. When I was 19 years old, when I was in uni, my part-time job, I was selling perfume.
Wow.
And I loved in a mall.
For real?
And I loved that job.
That's so dope.
If you look and go, selling perfume, you just don't understand. I learned so much in that job.
Exactly. And also it makes you an awesome salesperson.
Exactly.
As we wrap up this conversation, because I can see we're left with about 3 minutes, I'm going to ask you to also now just, of course, the contact information.
Yes.
Don't talk to me like I'm on radio.
Yes.
For example. Don't even talk to me like I'm one of your clients.
Yes.
Talk to me like I'm probably family.
Yes.
The golden rule for becoming an impactful individual, whether in business or you're in relationship. I remember my dad, who was in the military, used to tell me, Kevin, at some point you have to be a leader without a title. And you need to get out there and act like you're a leader. I'm like, yes, sir.
I love that.
What's the golden rule for me to stand out, be effective, leave an impression, and get the millions? For a Kenyan.
Wow. So for me, I'd say it's be honest with yourself about what you want to do. I think I'd have been a good lawyer, I think, or an okay lawyer, but because my heart was not in it, If I had stuck it out and not told myself the truth, I don't know. I think I'd have just been an okay lawyer, or I'd have been a great lawyer, but miserable, crying at home, back to whining. So tell yourself the truth. I became a mom at 36. Why? Because I didn't want to be a mom in my 20s. I didn't want to be a mom in my early 30s. I told myself the truth. And I think that's why one reason I'm enjoying motherhood. There's a power in telling yourself the truth and finding your squad. Other truth tellers, other adventure seekers. I
love that.
Yeah. I'm surrounded by people who are like that. So it's really uplifting. So when you say things like, I'm writing a book, no one is going, really? Is there money in that? Do you even know how to write? It's just, that's awesome. The editor I used, it was a friend who sent me his number. Talk to this guy. He used to be the former GM of Story Moja. Those sorts of things. Tell yourself the truth and squad goals.
Squad goals. I love that. Yeah. Easy. So, where can people reach out to you in case of a partnership, in case of a project idea, maybe further this conversation?
Absolutely.
I'm sure there are people with podcasts out there.
Yes.
Talk to us. Yeah.
Go to, just Google Coach Cece, Cece Ojany, my last name, Coach Cece Ojany, and I'm happy to say I'm on the first page of Google. It'll be my TikTok, my Instagram, my LinkedIn is at Coach Cece Ojany. My Facebook. The podcast is the Authentic Leadership Podcast with Coach Cece, with Cece Ojany. You can find it wherever podcasts are found.
How often do you upload?
Oh gosh, I've got such a backlog. I try to do it every 2 weeks.
Okay.
I've got such a backlog, but I've got some new episodes coming up, which is really cool. And I'm also on YouTube as well with the podcast. So awesome.
Cece, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So before we go, we like to do this thing with our guests where we take them down memory lane.
Yes.
So what was that one song for you in your 20s that used to keep you going during the hard times, the good times?
Yeah. I have to tell you, it was DMX.